I'm Angela. Today I'm going to be interviewing Lauri Maitland. She's a fused glass artist, so I'm really excited to chat with her. We are interviewing artists who are participating in the Riverdale Art Walk. It's a 2-week virtual show. I'll just see if I can invite Lauri once she's joined here. Oh, there she is. I'll just see if I can invite her. There we go. Well, Lauri will be joining us soon. She'll be sharing a little bit about her art practice and talking about the show and what she's been up to the last little while. Let me see if there she is.
Hi,
Lauri.
Hi,
Nice to meet you. Good. How are you?
Oh, you too. Yes.
I'm excited to chat with you. I love your story about finding beauty in the discarded, or like focusing on the things that aren't shiny. I just love that
Right.
story.
Yeah. I did. I started out with a whole series basically on things you would kind of just walk past and not even look twice. But when you got close, it was so like the texture and the way that the metal had rusted or the paint had come off was really interesting. Right. So then that kind of was the start, or the start point of the series.
So this is sort of new in your series of glasswork. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself as an artist. I just, I don't think you've been in the Riverdale Art Walk before, and I don't think that I've seen your work in person. I'm excited to see it, actually.
Yeah, this would be the first time I would have been at a live, well, would have been in-person show.
Right.
So I started out a while ago as a charcoal portrait artist, but it just never felt like that was where I was meant to be.
Right.
So I took a class one weekend just for fun in glass, and I knew immediately, as soon as I had my hands on the glass, I knew immediately that that's where I should focus. But then I had to somehow incorporate the painting and the sketching with the glass. So that's
pretty unique, right, for glass artists? Is it not? Like, I don't know if I've seen that before, like incorporating more of a mixed media approach to glass work.
Yeah, there are a few artists who do it. We're kind of few and far between, and everybody has their own spin on how they look at it. But yeah, mine was basically to create a painting inside the glass.
Right.
And then kind of seal it, almost like you're preserving it for later.
Right.
So that's what I started. So then I started kind of multi-panels and then breaking down. I basically take a photograph and I break it down based on planes. So what you would see first, next, and then I recreate that 3 dimensions on panels of glass so that when you put it all together, you get hopefully a 3-dimensional picture. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it's sort of like the old storytelling with like the multiple slides, or I mean, I'm showing my age here, but like the production process of even printing, how you have different sort of layers to tell a story and different colors and things overlapping. I think it's just a really unique, interesting look, and the fact that you incorporate these elements of found objects, or like things that people don't necessarily spend that much time looking at. I think it's really interesting. Are you in your studio there?
Yes, I am.
I don't know.
Did you want to have a look?
Can you show us any pieces just so that some of the viewers might get a sense a little bit of your work, and then we can chat a little bit more about it?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if you'll be able to show anything, but it'd be interesting to see the work.
Yeah, let me turn you around here. Okay.
All right.
So this piece is probably the first one I did. It's fairly thick, like if you look in relation to my hand.
Right.
And it's visible from both sides.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
So I actually ended up stopping the painting halfway and then reversing my perspective so that when I put it together, it becomes one 3D image.
Right.
All put inside the glass.
So it's really, it's sculptural, right? You can kind of walk around all sides of that, right? Oh, it's beautiful.
Exactly. And I started that because I had my other pieces displayed and people kept wanting to look behind them. And I wasn't sure what
Right.
they were looking for. But I think it's because it looks three-dimensional that they were kind of trying to look around. So then I thought, well, I might as well then make it so that you can walk all the way around. So I've kind of started a series of like thicker pieces that are meant then to be seen from both sides. And this is the truck.
Yeah, that's the image I think that we had profiled in the Instagram pic.
Right.
Yeah, so maybe you can tell us a little bit about that piece.
So this, a friend actually sent me the photograph for this piece. It's a truck that had been abandoned that he came across in his travels in Thailand.
Right.
And I loved the rust in the hood and the way the grass was coming out of kind of the engine compartment. It was almost like nature had said, well, you left it here, I'm taking it back.
Right.
So it was really interesting. It is about 6 layers and took about 3 days to fire just because of the size. It's 24 inches across.
So when you say 3 days to fire, is that because you're firing it in layers?
No, I paint them in layers, stack them, put it inside a kiln. But
Right.
because of the size, I have to ramp up the temperature very slowly so it won't crack on me. And
Right.
then I have to let it anneal once it gets to 900, which is on the way down, again, to kind of re-strengthen the bonds of the glass so that it doesn't crack.
Wow.
And then when it comes out. So it takes roughly about 3 days.
So what medium are you painting with in order to?
So these are actually enamels that are meant for glass.
Right. Okay.
So they're meant to take the heat. My pieces go anywhere from 1380 to 1450 degrees at top temp.
Wow.
So I still have issues with oranges, reds.
Right.
If I'm not careful, they tend to go brown.
Right.
So I have to be really careful, but most of the paints will withstand that kind of heat. So this one isn't finished yet. It just came out of the kiln, but it is also fairly thick. And then at the back is just the grasses.
Oh, it's just beautiful. Yeah, it's lovely.
And then this one is, I think, 15 or 16 layers. So her face, I don't know if you can see, but her face is also done in layers so that it's three-dimensional. Right. It's hard.
I can see it a bit. I think this is the one time when you really want to be able to see this work in person. Yeah, I can see that her face is three-dimensional. It's lovely. Like it's just very unique. And I think you must have had to learn like the new paints and everything, probably very different than working with charcoal. So it must have been a really kind of interesting process to sort of kind of work through this and create this new process. And I imagine when the light comes through the back, it must just be spectacular.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason I like the glass, one is because all the glass I use is hand rolled. So it's kind of like an artist has already started the process. Right. And I'm taking over. And the other thing is, I always say that every day is like Christmas when I open the kiln because I don't know what I'm going to get. Right. So I can only control so much. Right. And then depending on how the glass reacts, how the enamels react, there's always a chance I'll open it and the color will not be right, or it will have broken or cracked, or there'll be a big bubble. So it's always like I've done as much as I can, and then fate kind of takes over. Right. And I hope for the best. But I like that part. Yeah,
I think, you must sometimes be pleasantly surprised too, right? Like, oh, that color turned out just exactly how I might have envisioned, or even better in my mind. Like, because glass has this different vibrancy, right? Like, I mean, I love glass. Right. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, and good surprises are nice. But every once in a while, I kind of open the kiln and think, I don't know how that happened.
Right.
But so I have a little bucket of maybe later we'll look at that again.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
we all have that, the corner of our studio.
Yeah. The only challenge I've had, or one of the biggest challenges I've had, is it's kind of a medium that isn't really known yet. So it's hard for people to visualize with not seeing it. Mm-hmm. and photographing doesn't really cut it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it
I
really
find
needs
that
to be.
a challenge even with my work with encaustic work. It's hard to photograph. I can't imagine glass, right?
Yeah,
Especially the 3D element of your pieces. Um, I guess if you took like little videos with the right lighting, maybe that would help give people an idea of the piece. I think that's one of the challenges with doing all these virtual shows. It's going to be
right,
awesome when you can do more in-person shows. Do you have
right.
any, are you, you're not in the tent tour this weekend. You're not popping up a tent,
No,
right? I don't think. No.
no, no, because I'm close to
But
Ottawa.
can, right. Can people come and visit you in your studio? Like, are you doing porch visits or like studio visits to showcase your work at all? Or,
Not yet. I hope to later on. I'm not doing anything yet here, but hopefully, fingers crossed. As the year goes on, we can kind of things will open up a bit more, and I can have people in, or I can attend different things, and just kind of even it's just the exposure. So when you talk about it, someone knows what you're referring to.
mm-hmm.
Will make a big difference. But I sometimes bring along with me kind of a piece in progress in the layers, so you can see as I put it together how each layer has a specific component that doesn't look like
Right.
anything on its own. And then once you stack it all together and you look through it, then you get the kind of the three-dimensional finished scene. But I had someone one time refer to it like lino printing in different colors.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a kind of the same idea, only on glass.
Yeah. Well,
But
it's really interesting. So are you in some galleries where people can find your work then? Is that where you're mostly showcasing your work?
yes, yeah, I just joined actually an Ottawa gallery, and then they closed. So,
Yeah.
and I've been showing at Propeller, and I was supposed to have my first show at Gerard, but it was closed. So I kind of really hit, or trying to hit, getting exposure and getting out there just before COVID.
Right. Yeah.
So everything is a little bit delayed, but that's okay. It's
Yeah.
in time,
So,
it will all
so you
come
get
back.
to do a little bit more practicing, but it's always good to get feedback, one from galleries, but also really just from people in general about your art and your work and see how people respond to it. I think that that's
Right.
like, a really important thing that artists kind of have a little bit been missing the last year. And depending on where you are in your career, you might have had a lot of that or you might not have. I'm sort of in the same boat as you. I was sort of just launching my art career and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So it's sort of the challenge, right? Like doing it online versus in person is a bit of a is a bit more difficult, especially with your work. But it's beautiful. I'm really looking forward to seeing it in person. So
Oh,
hopefully
thank
we'll see
you.
you at a show soon. And I'll
Yeah.
take a look at all your work online. So for those who don't know, everybody is up on a platform called Eventany. And if you go to riverdaleartwalk.c, you can find Lauri's you can click through to that and kind of search for Lauri, and you'll be able to see all her work showcased there. Are you putting any videos up there, or like do you have quite a few images pieces on in the show?
I put pieces up, and I think what I'm going to do is in the next day or so, is see if I can get a video of the actual process up.
Right.
Sometimes that
Yeah.
makes it a little easier to understand. So I'm kind of I'm part way through creating one. I just didn't have one ready yet at this point to be able to do it, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, in the
Yeah.
next day
Yeah.
I can get
Yeah.
it. It's almost at the point.
Oh, that'll be interesting to see. I'll look for that. Is there anything
Yeah.
else you want to share with anybody while we're chatting about your
No,
practice or where you're at? No? Okay. Well,
no,
we'll find you in
no,
Ottawa, I guess. You're all the way up in
yes.
Ottawa, but hopefully you'll be in some Toronto shows in the area here soon, or otherwise we'll see you in Ottawa. The Ottawa show, I mean, Ottawa has a really nice outdoor show as well. I canceled this year, obviously, but maybe next year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm hoping, like I said, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out. If there's anything that kind of doesn't make sense, I'm open to talking about it and kind of explaining the process and trying to give you a better idea virtually versus seeing it in person. But hopefully this will be over soon and we can go back to to seeing it in person. They really do need to be seen.
Yeah.
So that
And the
you can
best
kind
way
of
for
walk
people
around
to
them.
the best way for people to get in touch with you is through Instagram maybe, or
Yeah,
Facebook? Because
absolutely.
I looked at your website, but the link, are you working on your website? You're updating it?
No, no, was it not functioning?
No, it wasn't. So maybe I'll have to
Okay,
go
so
back and look again. But when I
yeah,
tried to go on this morning, it didn't, it seemed like the URL that I had was broken. So
okay.
maybe I'll take a look again. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I'll
I just
check.
didn't know if
Yeah,
it was in progress. So
no, I'll check on that as well. But yeah, definitely Facebook and Instagram are the easiest ways right now. If anybody has any questions or wants to see a piece or discuss it, yeah, that's the way to kind of get a hold of me.
all right. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. It was exciting to see a little bit about learn a little bit about your practice and see some of your work. It's really fascinating. I'm looking forward to seeing it in person sometime soon. So
Okay, thanks very
thanks. Good
much.
luck with the show, Lauri. Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.